Hello, Captains. This is Justice Plays, and welcome to a new Starship review in Star Trek Online. Hello, Captains. I hope you're having a wonderful day out there. As you saw, I have a new Starship to review for you today. Hopefully, the format of my Starship review videos will be streamlined moving forward. I have a new but not real different format, and I'm hoping that the editing will be a little bit better and more to the point, and streamlined and very clear what you're watching with a title screen or a text above each section of the video. Should help you to figure out what we're going to cover in each section. So in this first section, I'm going to start in my Starship reviews moving forward with information about the Starship that I'm reviewing. This is, of course, the Jem'Hadar Fighter, or the Jem'Hadar Escort T5-U in Star Trek Online. Now, what I will do is I will begin with information as it relates to the actual TV series. I will give you just a little bit of information about the ship from the show so you can compare that with what we have in the game, because the game specifications for the ships are always a little different from what you actually see on screen in the television show. Okay, so as you can see on screen, this is the Jem'Hadar Escort T5-U. This is the starter ship that you get in the Jem'Hadar faction or Dominion faction, and it is also called a Jem'Hadar fighter, or an attack fighter, or a patrol ship. Yeah, it's got several names to it, but basically it is the workhorse of the Dominion fleet in Star Trek, both in the game and the TV show. This is, of course, from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So here's some information from the TV show itself. As I mentioned, it's the Jem'Hadar fighter in the series. They also refer to it sometimes as an attack fighter or a patrol ship or a scout ship. It is referred to as several different roles. It's a very versatile ship for the Dominion fleet in Star Trek. It does look insectoid, has kind of a scarab look to it. These are extremely sturdy ships, and they are capable of landing on planets to deliver Jem'Hadar troops. They are also very maneuverable. These were active during the 2370s, up through 2375 at the end of the Dominion War, and they still persist probably beyond that as well. Length on these is about greater than 90 meters. We don't know from on-screen in the TV series the exact size, although I hear there is a technical manual for them, so maybe that has more precise sizing, but it is at least greater than 90 meters. The crew complement is 1 Vorta. There's always 1 Vorta on board, and 42 Jem'Hadar. The speed of the ship that was observed in the TV show is probably around warp 7 or a little bit greater than warp 7. However, I believe the technical manual specifies that they can do like warp 9.6. So perhaps they can, and that would make sense because these are advanced ships compared to Federation ships. They have features and abilities that go beyond Federation ships of this size. The armament, this is what makes them really unique in the TV show. The armament is phased polaron beams, disruptors, torpedoes, and later added around 2375 were breen energy dissipators. However, they came so late to the war they didn't make that big of a difference. But the big part here is the phased polaron beams. When a Federation ship first encounters the Jem'Hadar attack ship in the series Deep Space Nine, the phased polaron beams are able to penetrate the shields of the Federation ship with ease. There is absolutely no defense against them. They go right through the Federation shields. So that makes them very unique up front. However, later on, the Federation did adapt their frequency to those phased polaron beams. So at first, it was quite a threat. They were quite a threat. But later on, they weren't as much of a threat. But they were still pretty powerful. They use deflector shields, and apparently the deflector shields are so advanced that they cannot be locked onto with a tractor beam. A Federation tractor beam could not lock onto the deflector shields of the Jem'Hadar attack ship with the deflector shields up. It had some kind of like anti-tractor beam technology. Also, they have transporter technology on board these ships, and apparently they can beam through Federation shields. So they can beam through a Federation starship's shields. So these were very advanced. These Dominion ships were very advanced and very powerful. Like I said, the workhorse of the Dominion. And in the series, we see them a lot. Now, let's move on to the specifications in the game here, Star Trek Online. This is the starter ship that you start with the Dominion faction. So the Dominion faction came out summer of 2018. That was a big expansion for Star Trek Online. We got the playable Jem'Hadar, and you start at like level 60, and this is the ship that you start with here. Now it is a Tier 5-U, and U means upgraded. So it's Tier 5 base, but then it has an upgraded bit to it, which means it has a little bit higher shields, and it has a 4-piece Starship Mastery, and it's just a little bit better than Tier 5, but it is not Tier 6, and it does not have any unique consoles with it. But here are the specifications. Let's see. It is an attack ship in the game, no universal seating. Okay, here it is. It's similar, actually, to the stats of the Jem'Hadar attack ship in the game, but it has no universal seating and fewer tactical bridge officer and console slots. At level 60, its hull strength is 46,000, but at max level 65, its hull strength is 51,750. This can be buffed, of course. Your hull modifier is 1.15. Your shield modifier is 1. Turn rate is 20. It's a maneuverable ship. Impulse modifier is 0.22. Inertia rating is 70. It has bonus power to weapons, plus 15 weapon power. You can equip dual cannons and dual heavy cannons. It has an experimental weapon slot on it, and I believe it uses the ion projector. It has a commander tactical seating, a lieutenant tactical, a lieutenant commander engineering, and an ensign engineering, and a lieutenant science. But it does not have any specialized command seatings. It has 4 tactical console slots, 4 engineering slots, and 3 science console slots. It has 4 weapons, 3 aft. It has a Starship Mastery package up to 4. It has plus 5% accuracy, plus 5% defense, plus 10% kinetic damage and all energy damage. And then the last one is a plus 2.5% critical chance. Now, this ship comes with Mark 12 very rare equipment. They actually have this thing pretty decked out when you get it. It uses basic Polaron energy, does not use phased Polaron. However, you can add phased Polaron to it if you want on your own, but it comes with just basic Polaron energy weapon damage. And it comes with the full Jem'Hadar space set, and there's no unique console on it. So the base energy type that you're going to be playing with on this is Polaron energy, but thankfully it comes fully equipped with tactical consoles that buff Polaron energy, and the whole thing is built for Polaron energy. So the Dominion faction is very different in this game because it gives you a fully loaded character, ground character, and spaceship with a fully loaded everything on it. So it's like Mark 12, very rare, ready to go. Because you start, remember, at level 60 on the Dominion faction. So that makes this ship a little bit different than other ships that you would fly in the game. It's practically, literally, all of it ready to go from the get-go. You can just play it all the way through in-game, no problem. On my character right now, I am on, obviously, my Dominion faction character. I am on a Vanguard Jem'Hadar character, and I am level 65. So this is max level of the ship and everything. Okay, now for the next part of this section here, we're going to take a look at the visuals and the specifications of the ship as far as my build goes and all of that while we are in space. Obviously, you can see that it has a bug-like appearance. It's small and it's maneuverable and it's purple. I think it looks really good for what it is. It's a very unique looking ship. It has a lot of detail to it. When I zoom all the way out, this is what it looks like. So it's very small if you zoom all the way out, but you get a lot. You get to see a lot around it if you do that. But it is a little hard to see zoomed all the way out. Zoom all the way in, and you can literally have it take up your entire screen if you want, right in the middle there. And it's not too big that it really doesn't impact your view all that bad. I like to play at about one scrolling out, about right there, or maybe right there, 2 scrolls out. And that's about my default play view right there. Let's take it next to another ship here, just so you can get an idea for what it looks like in comparison. For example, here's a Scimitar. That's a very large ship we are all familiar with in size. So let's put this thing next to it, and you can see like a size comparison here. It literally can fit inside one of the wings of the Scimitar. Look at that. You could fit several of these all the way across here. So it is pretty tiny compared to a big ship like that. But the advantage is, look how maneuverable it is. I can fly circles around this Scimitar, whereas it would not be able to do that around my ship. In fact, I'm flying more than circles. I'm like really got a tight turning radius there, which is nice. So you can see that its maneuverability is really what makes this ship fun to fly. It's a fun to fly ship because of that maneuverability. So I do like that. So yeah, it's fun to fly ship. You can turn real sharp, and you can use cannons, dual heavy cannons, single cannons, dual cannons. You can use beams if you want. All of that is at your disposal with this ship. Okay. Now I'm going to bring up my build of the ship so that you can see what I'm flying, so that when we take it into combat, you are aware of my specifications and everything about it. You can see right now my weapon power is at 125. My shield power is 73. Engines is 45, so engine speed really isn't that high, yet I can still move pretty good. And auxiliary is 55. The character that I am on, my Jem'Hadar, is a science character. So this isn't really a science ship. It's an attack ship. It's more of a tactically escort-inclined ship. So a science character really doesn't fit precisely with the style and type of ship it is, but it can still be used as an attack ship with a science character. In fact, I do not have any science powers. I don't have Gravity Well or Tychon's Rift. I'm not using that. I'm kind of using it more like a tactical character or escort ship, even on my science character. And that's what you'll see here. And so that is capable on a science character to still be a very powerful escort as well. I'm going to bring up my build right now. Remember, as I bring up my build, this is just one example of how you can build a ship. It is not the end-all be-all of builds. It is not the best build. I do not claim for it to be the best build. There are lots of improvements that could be made to this build, and of course you can build your ship any way you want. I am not telling you how to build it at all. You have that freedom, so that statement is out of the way there. Now, I decided to switch over to a phased Polaron energy build on this ship. Because of the TV series nature of this ship, its default build or theme in the TV show Star Trek Deep Space Nine is phased Polaron. Thankfully, in this game, we can have phased Polaron weapons. And I went with a phased Polaron build to keep it thematic with the TV show. And I like that. So what I'm using up front are phased Polaron dual heavy cannons, and I got 3 of them, Mark 15 Epic. And look at the modifiers on there. I've got crit D times 3, and then an accuracy and a damage. And then in the back, I've got 2 turrets, also phased Polaron, and the same modifiers, crit D times 3, accuracy, damage. And for the space set, I am using what it came with, because I wanted to review the ship with its default space set. This is the space set that they give you in the ship with the ship for free. It's only Mark 12, very rare, and I've upgraded it to Mark 15 Epic. But this is the Jem'Hadar deflector dish, and it has Control X times 4 and shield and hull capacity when you upgrade it completely. Then I have the Jem'Hadar combat impulse engine, Mark 15, and there's these specs on it. You can, of course, pause the video if you want to read all of the specs listed there, but this is the default space set. It's just that I have it all upgraded. So this is what you will get with the ship anyway. Jem'Hadar Resilient Shield. And even though it's a resilient shield, it still has a pretty high shield capacity at 9266 when it's completely upgraded to Mark 15 Epic. It is part of the Jem'Hadar Space set. You have a Set 2 bonus called Dominion Synergy, and a Set 3 bonus called Anti-Proton Sweep. And if you put all of that on a Dominion ship, you actually get a 4th bonus called Victory is Life. So let's read about those, because that is important to this ship and any Dominion ship. The 2-piece bonus called Dominion Synergy gives you extra Polaron damage. So right there you get more Polaron damage, which means, yes, you definitely want to go with a Polaron build on this ship, especially if you're going to use the Jem'Hadar space set. It gives you Drain Expertise and Resistance to the same. Then it gives you this neat ability called an Anti-Proton Sweep. Now, apparently, they did have something similar to this ability in the TV show, and it was a way to detect cloaked ships in the TV show. In the game, it is more of a, shield drain. Shields on up to 5 enemy drain shields, and it takes and debuffs the shield resistance. And it also does disable cloaking systems as well. So if you do have a cloaked ship, this can also disable cloak. And it has a drain infection, electrical damage every 1 second. So that's what the anti-proton sweep does. It doesn't actually do anti-proton damage. It's more like a shield drain and a shield resistance drain, and then it can disable cloaking systems. And then if you put all of this on a Jem'Hadar vessel, any Jem'Hadar Dominion vessel, or Cardassian Galler, in fact, you get this thing called Victory is Life. It's a 1% chance to strip one buff while using Polaron weaponry. So, again, you need to use Polaron weaponry or something of Polaron energy. Phased Polaron will work. And you get that 1% chance to strip one buff. That's the Victory is Life. So, with that on this ship, with all these three pieces on this ship, on this Dominion ship, I get Victory is Life as well. So you put all that together, and that is a pretty good build. Now, in addition, we have, of course, the tactical consoles. Obviously, are going to be all Polaron damage. That's what I have. I do have a universal assimilated module. I also have a field generator for shield capacity. I also put a science plasma generating weapon signature nullifier on here that is going to give me some stealth and plasma-based exotic damage, even though I'm not really using exotic science abilities at the moment. And it also gives a plasma explosion proc to energy weapons, 2.5 chance. This used to be a big deal. It's not so much anymore, but hey, I had an extra science console, and so that's what I'm using it for. And I really like the stealth. It improves stealth and cloaking. Obviously, I'm not cloaking, but I am wanting to increase the stealth because this is a small ship, and anything that can increase your defense or stealth is very important because you don't want to get hit with it. It's like flying a glass cannon, they call it. And in the rear here for the engineering console, I've got an all damage resistance neutronium. I did put on a engineering reinforced armaments here. This gives me power transfer rate, starship hull restoration, so that I can heal things better. Starship hull capacity as well, to increase that hull capacity more. I want to stay alive, obviously. We'll talk about this console in a second because it's actually going to be part of the warp core that I upgraded, which is something totally different that does not come with the ship, but something you can upgrade to. I also put on this unique console. This is also not part of the ship. This is not a unique console that comes with the ship. I got this from the exchange. This is called Shared Processing Integration. I saw this and I was like, you know what? This is a cool ability. I'm going to try this out. What this does is gives you improved starship hull restoration and shield capacity, which is again important for a ship like this. But in addition, it's got this neat ability that when you enable it, your friends and self in a 4-kilometer radius get a plus 62.4 all damage resistance rating for 15 seconds. And you get an increased hit points every second for 15 seconds. And it's really cool when you activate it. It sends out these purple beams that connect to any friendly ship around you in a 4-kilometer radius. And you and them get this damage resistance buff and this hit point buff while you have it activated for 15 seconds. So it's another way to help this ship stay alive in battle. When I'm in a hot situation and I need some damage resistance and hit points to stay alive in a big battle or whatever's going on, a lot of ships around me maybe, or a boss battle, it's a good way to help me stay alive. Again, this does not come with the ship. This was something I got in the exchange and put on there, so you can put this on any ship. And it's just a universal console. So, again, not come with the ship, but very useful with this ship. So I decided to put that on there. You also, of course, get the hyper-excited ion stream projector with the ship. I did upgrade it, naturally. And I also have a kinetic cutting beam, which has that 2-piece bonus with the Borg console that is called Omega Weapon Amplifier. It increases your weapons. Now, the two other things, the warp core and this little console here, these are actually from the Gamma Quadrant Reputation. So if you go to your Reputation and you go to Gamma Task Force, this is those two things are part of the Gamma Reputation. You can see that I am now past tier 5 on the Gamma reputation. I'm working on tier 6 right now. But these are items that you can purchase from this reputation. This reputation has a Starship primary set and a Starship secondary set. Now, this is not Jem'Hadar specific, it's Gamma Quadrant general. But for the primary set, you can get a synergistic graviton deflector. You can get a synergistic combat impulse engine, a synergistic overcharged warp core, and a synergistic resilient shield array, which all create a 4-piece set. Naturally, that's the Gamma Quadrant set. If you go to the secondary set, you can get some more stuff. You can get this console called a Universal Ordnance Accelerator. You can get an inhibiting Polaron turret, or an advanced omnidirectional inhibiting Polaron beam array, which is a 360-degree Polaron beam weapon, or advanced inhibiting chronoton rapid mine launchers if you want to use mines, and a wide-angle inhibiting chronoton torpedo launcher. And you put all these together, and it's also part of a set. Now, you don't need all of these to create the set. You only need like 3 of them. So you would choose to have either the turret, the beam, or the mine launcher. And then you would have that combined with the torpedo and the console, and that would give you a 2- and 3-piece set. Out of this, for right now, I don't have all of these items on this ship, but I went ahead and took 2 of the items and put them on my ship. So the 2 items that I put on the ship are, first, I put the console, because check out what it does. It does reduce shared mine recharge time. I'm not using mines. It does have a mine recharge speed, but I'm not using mines. But it helps in other ways. It increases projectile weapon damage. That's right. So just having this console on gives me improved projectile weapon damage. And most importantly, for my build, because I'm using Polaron energy damage, it increases Polaron directed energy weapon damage. So there's 2 things right there beyond my tactical consoles that are buffing Polaron energy weapon damage. Remember, we have the buff from this set, which gives you plus 16.4% Polaron damage. And then I have the buff from this console, which is giving me plus even more, plus 26.3% Polaron energy weapon damage. So I've got 2 things beyond my 4 tactical consoles buffing Polaron damage. So I am getting the most buffed Polaron damage I can get. So that console was very useful from the Gamma reputation. Now, also, I have another piece with it. I went ahead and put on the advanced wide arc inhibiting chronoton torpedo as well. And that's part of the Task Force Ordnances set. So the 2-piece bonus that I'm getting from that is, check this out. I'm getting another plus 10% Polaron weapon damage. That's right, another. I'm also getting plus 10% chronoton weapon damage. And what does the torpedo use? It uses chronotons. And I'm getting a plus 10% flight turn rate, which I really didn't need, but hey, I'll take it. It really, really helps. So having those 2 pieces from the Gamma Quadrant reputation gives me chronoton weapon damage buff and a Polaron weapon damage buff, in addition to the Polaron weapon damage from the console itself, then in addition to the Polaron weapon damage buff from the Jem'Hadar space set. So I've got 3 Polaron damage buffs in addition to my 4 tactical consoles. And that's why I went with that set on here, that 2-piece. I don't have all of the pieces, obviously. I don't have the omnidirectional. I actually do have it here in my inventory, but I don't have it on this ship. I'm saving it for future ship builds. I'm going to be using in the future the omnidirectional beam and the whole gamma quadrant space set itself. I will be testing that in the future. But then the other part I have, which is not connected to any sets right now, is I went ahead and put on the gamma quadrant warp core as well. The gamma quadrant reputation warp core. This is the overcharged warp core. It's got ACAP, AMP, shields to auxiliary, SSR, and weapons to shields. Nothing spectacular there. It does help auxiliary power a lot, plus 5 additional aux power, plus 5 maximum aux power. So this is actually a good warp core for a science character, and I am science. So while it doesn't really benefit me, you know, in terms of science abilities on this current build on this ship, in the future, when I have other ships that have maybe some sciencey powers, this warp core will definitely help then, and it's going to go with the whole gamma quadrant space set anyway, because I have all the other stuff. I've got the engine and the deflector and the shield, and I'll put all that together on a different Dominion ship in the future. But for right now, I just said, you know, why not go ahead and just put the gamma quadrant warp core on this ship anyway? It's better than the warp core it came with. So that's what I did. And that's my basic build. Now you can see the Starship Mastery unlocks are also unlocked. That's plus 5 accuracy, plus 5 defense, plus 10% kinetic damage, and plus 10% energy damage, plus 2.5% critical chance. Let's look at the stations that I'm using here. These are the stations that you get. Remember, we've got a Commander Tactical. I am using Rapid Fire 3, Spread 3. These are cannons because I'm using cannons. I got Torpedo Spread 3 and Rapid Fire 3. I got Torpedo High Yield 2. I do have Chemocyte Laced Weaponry level 1. I got Scatter Volley 1 for cannons. I got Tactical Team 1. On engineering, I got Emergency Power to Auxiliary, though I'm really not using that, so that's kind of a waste. But I got Engineering Team 2, and I got Emergency Power to Weapons 3 to really buff that weapon damage. I've got Emergency Power to Shields. I got Science Team 2 and Hazard Emitters for healing. And that's basically it. Remember, there's no like specialized seating on this ship. In terms of my specialization right now, I have Intelligence Officer as my primary. So Intelligence Officer is primary, and then Command is secondary. Command is secondary, that's right. Because these are full, remember they do give you full specializations in this faction here. Not all of them, but some of them. Okay, now let's look at the stats here. Here's what this ship is running at. Stealth detection rating is 279.49. Power transfer rate is 240%. My defense rating is 85. Very good. And look at my hull strength, 98,585. Remember, the default hull strength on this is 51,750 at level 65. So, excuse me, so I have that buffed quite a bit on the hull. Hull repair rate 105.3% a minute. My shield strength is not the highest, but it never would be for this ship. Even though I have a field generator on here, it's still only 14,000. Shield regen rate is 997.3. My resist are in the lower 30s, so really not great. My crit severity, though, is 80%, and my chance is 22% to hit a crit, so that's pretty good. Accuracy rating of 17.8. Turn rate 43.3 degrees a second. Remember, the default turn rate is 20, so I would say that's buffed quite a bit right there. And that is the basic stats on the ship. Now let me bring up the weapon DPS so that you can see what all that looks like. Where are you, thingy? Oh, it's already up. I just wanted to show you what the DPS is for each of my weapons. So the dual heavy cannon up here, you can see it's doing 2777 Polaron damage and 2222 DPS, 2222 DPS. This one, they're all the same because they're all the same modifiers. And the turrets in the back are doing 964 polaron damage and 1,157 DPS each. The torpedo is doing a 767 DPS or 7,678 kinetic damage. The kinetic cutting beam is doing 1,890 DPS or 2,521 kinetic damage, and then my ion stream projector is doing 4,307 electrical damage. So yeah, these things are doing quite a bit. 22 DPS, 2777 polaron damage. So if I buff, like let's say, just emergency power to weapons 3, just one thing here. Check this out. Now this goes up to 2564 DPS and 3205 polaron damage. So quite a bit of damage there with this ship. I definitely have no problem taking down the enemy. It's quite easy. Other powers that I have on this ship, just so that you are aware while we go into combat here, this is the anti-proton sweep. This is that thing that comes with the Jem'Hadar space set. As you can see, there's the stats on it. -3 160 shields, -3.9% shield resistance to the enemy, a drain infection. It's got electrical damage, and it disables cloaking device. That's what it looks like right there.
Ship is under attack.
Pretty cool ability. It's got a 2-minute cooldown time, but you can use that. I also have Intelligence Fleet 2, which gives me Starship Stealth, Perception, shield penetration, and armor penetration. So I like to use Intelligence Fleet quite a bit when I can. Otherwise, here's the shared processing thing that I have. It's plus 62.4 all damage resistance and then 1380 hit points, but I can only enable that when I'm in combat around other ships. I can enable it just on myself as well, but I have to be in combat. Here's my chemosite laced weaponry for some radiation damage and extra damage. Just some sciencey powers. Obviously, I've got scattering field, and I've got sensor scan because I'm a science character. I've got science team or science fleet. This is the ability that you get now when you level up to 65. Co-op energy weapons. Energy weapon damage is reduced by 100%. Energy weapon damage heals targets for 10% of the damage they would normally deal. Pretty basic stuff. I really don't have anything extremely unique in terms of powers here, except for maybe the shared processing thing. But again, anybody can get that from the exchange. And then the other thing would be the anti-proton sweep. That's pretty unique because only the Jem'Hadar space set can get that. Otherwise, everything's pretty much... I've got Photonic Fleet, obviously. Everything's pretty basic in terms of powers here. This ship is really just about doing a lot of damage rather than having crazy, special, unique powers. It's just, put a whole bunch of powerful cannons on it and fire them as powerfully as you can to take out the enemy as quickly as you can. I mean, that's really it with this ship. It's all about doing damage rather than like having unique abilities on a ship. So it's very basic in that way, but it can also be fun because you do a lot of damage. You do a lot of damage with this ship. So now for the next section, I'm going to pause and we're going to switch over and we're going to do some TFOs, as they are called now. Not sure exactly which ones I'm going to do yet, but I may do some patrols as well, patrols and TFOs. We'll do several things because I want to show you how powerful the ship is. I may do a patrol on our own so we don't have other players affecting us. That way you can see how powerful it is on its own. And then we'll do like a shared team TFO, do something pretty difficult with it, and you can see it in combat that way. And then at the very end of the video, I will conclude with my final thoughts about the ship. So stand by as I load up and get to a patrol. We'll start with that first. Okay, everybody, now we are going to take the Jem'Hadar attack fighter into the Karaya system. This is a Romulan patrol. It is quite simple. No other players will be there except myself. This will allow me to show you the abilities of the ship, mostly how much damage it can do. Because, like I said, there's not any real special abilities here beyond the anti-proton sweep. It's really just about doing damage with whatever build you have selected. And the phased Polaron build I have is a very powerful cannon build. So we're able to take out enemies pretty fast on this thing. And that's what I'll show you, because one of the first ships that we will encounter here is a D'Deridex, and I should be able to take it out pretty easily with this ship. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. There's the D'Deridex. We're going to power up all my goodies. And, oh, they destroyed it before me. How dare they? Well, let's take out the Mogai.
Warning, ship is under attack. Target's shields have failed.
But there you go. Just like that. It's that easy. Now we can do a volley here.
Shields failing.
Do have to watch out because it is technically an escort, so
target's shields have failed.
Gotta watch out for your shield strengths and all that. So you can see that this is just gonna tear through anything, honestly. The next thing I'm going to show you is the anti-proton sweep. We'll take it here to this Mogai, and we got to get in range. Need to be kind of close to use it. But like right here, bam.
Warning, ship is under attack.
I didn't have them targeted, darn it. You do need to target them to use it, and I did not do that. So that didn't work. I'll try it again when it cools down.
Target's shields have failed.
How you will know that it's working is that you will see like red dots around the enemy. There are all kinds of red swarming dots, and that's how you know the anti-proton sweep is working.
Warning, ship is under attack.
Pretty simple. I'll let it cool down and we'll do it again on something. Let's see, about 30 seconds for it to cool down.
Warning, ship is under attack.
What are they shooting at?
Warning, ship is under attack.
Okay, there's another Mogai. Let's hit it on the Mogai now that I got it targeted. There we go. That's the anti-proton sweep.
Target's shields have failed. 4 shields failing.
And then just like that, they'll be easily taken out.
Hull integrity below 75%.
Now, if I want to do the shared processing integration, I'll do it here on the last group. I'll also go ahead and do my intelligence fleet. But this will give me a little bit of a resistance.
Warning, ship is under attack. Target's shields have failed.
As we take out these ships. And there we go. Couldn't be more simple. The ship just really tears through anything. It's built to do damage. And boy, does it. So now that we've seen how powerful it can be in just a normal patrol there, it's time to do some TFOs. So I will find a good TFO to test this in. Maybe we'll go ahead and do something common or popular, and then I'll see. We'll see. I don't think there's anything new. There's no special event going on right now, so I will find something good to do, and I will come back and we'll do it with a group of other people. So stand by. Okay, welcome back, everybody. I am in a TFO. This is the Swarm.
Are about to overrun.
This is the Swarm. This is advanced difficulty, the Swarm. So a higher difficulty level. And I chose the Swarm because it is one that you will probably play a lot on the Dominion faction, because you will want to get the Gamma Task Force marks. And the Swarm gets you that. So this one right here, Swarm. But I am doing advanced difficulty. Now this one will have a lot of Herc ships in it. So I could get overwhelmed quite easily, especially in this tiny ship. But what I have going for me is my maneuverability. And then, of course, because there'll be a lot of ships, I will probably use torpedo spread and volley a lot. But let's do it. Initially, since I know how this works, we're going to get a lot of ships right here initially. Once somebody starts scanning for that, they will all come out of the woodworks. Yeah, you can. Here's the shared inter-processing thing. See how it sends the beams out? Gives everybody resistance. I just find that very cool.
Left shield failing.
Now, don't forget, you got to send power to these ships.
Warning, ship is under attack.
So I used that shared processing integration, and that came in handy during that big battle because it gave myself and everybody else resistance. So that was kind of cool. And in a ship like this, it definitely helps. Let's get all these ships powered up. There's another group right there. They are moving fast. Look at them go.
Warning, ship is under attack. Target's shields have failed.
Looks like I've got a good team here. Very, very good team. They know what they're doing. We're powering up all the ships. People are healing each other. This is great. This is teamwork. Okay, let's get to the other end. I'm going to activate. Looks like there's already actually somebody there. So I'll go right here, and we're going to activate the satellites.
Well done.
Warning, ship is under attack.
Well, I thought I was going to activate it, but I'm in combat.
Satellite is back
Target
online.
shields have
It
failed.
will launch tractor mines
Oh,
against
I got
the
it.
Herc
Okay.
ships.
Now, they have a pretty nasty shield, but with my sheer willpower, I will break through. Look at that. They have a very, very good shield, but this ship, I can break through that. Check that out.
Warning, ship is under attack.
We still got one satellite somebody didn't get. Need to get that in time. Where is it at? Way at the end. Let's get that. Don't know why that person wasn't doing it. They were real close to it, but I got it. We're good.
The last of the...
Okay. Like I said, we got a pretty decent team here, so it's a breeze. But yeah, with this ship, I just have a lot of fun. It's maneuverable, and I can just move around and do whatever I need to do. And I really don't use anti-proton sweep a whole lot, except maybe if there's a large group of ships. That seems to work the better for it if you have
Herc
like
ship
a large
spotted
group.
at escape route Gamma. Get over there.
I know that they're going to pop right here,
Warning.
actually.
Ship is under attack. Target's shields have failed.
Just blow through everything. Now I do know that they will respawn here.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
There's always two groups of them. You got the first one, and then they always come back. So I'm going to wait for them, and what I'm going to do is hit them with the anti-proton sweep this time. There they are. I got to target them and then hit them.
Warning.
There we
Ship
go.
is under attack. Target's shields have failed. 4 shields failing.
And they're cleared out. And that's how you do that. We got a lot of ships here. I'm going to use the shared processing integration. Wait for the
Head to
dreadnought.
escape route Beta.
gonna wait
Protect
for
the
the-
refugee ships.
Wait for the dreadnought, and I'll use it when we're up
Herc
against the
ship
dreadnought.
spotted at
Oh, here
escape
we go.
route Gamma. Get over there.
Ship is under attack. Target's shields have failed.
Herc dreadnought on sensors. Be careful.
I hate that immunity they have. Look at that. Well, we're gonna wear them. We're gonna wear them down.
Left shields failing. Rear shields failing. Right shields failing. Hull integrity below 75%. Hull integrity below 50%.
Well, I gotta use it because I'm gonna die if I don't. That was a lot of ships, and that was pretty tough, but I got through it.
Target's shields have failed.
We didn't get the dreadnoughts. They already got it, so
Left shields failing.
oh well. Missed the dreadnought, but we had our own problem right there. And I managed to pull through
Refugee ships heading down escape route Alpha. Protect them.
it. All these ship little things over here.
Warning. Ship is under attack. Target's shields have failed.
Head
Now
to
they're
escape
gone.
route Beta. Protect the refugee ships.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
Now, with this shield up like that, I can use the anti-proton sweep on
We're
him.
speeding up the
That helps.
evacuation. All lanes will be utilized now. Refugee ships heading down escape route Alpha. Protect them.
Target's shields have failed. 4 shields failing.
Hurt ship spotted at escape route Gamma. Get over there.
Target's shields have failed. Four shields failing.
Again, they got their 2 ships here. We got their shields up. But we can break through. There's a shared processing integration thing going.
Refugee ships heading down escape route Alpha. Protect them.
4 shields failing.
There we go.
Four shields failing.
Hurt ship spotted at escape route Gamma. Get over there.
Target's shields have failed. Four shields failing. Target's shields have failed.
There we go. A lot going on right now.
Refugee ships heading down escape route Alpha. Protect them.
Warning, ship is under attack. Target's shields have failed.
They are everywhere.
Target's shields have failed.
That's everyone.
There we go.
4 shields failing.
Get those sweet Gamma Task Force marks. So that is the Swarm. Advanced difficulty with the Jem'Hadar Attack Fighter Tier 5-U starter ship Dominion faction. Alright, that was a lot of fun. Let's head back to the Sol system and we will conclude. Alright, welcome back everybody. And so now it is time to conclude this review of the Dominion faction starter ship, the Jem'Hadar attack ship, or scout ship, or patrol ship, Tier 5-U. I think it is a pretty good starter ship. It's not Tier 6, but it obviously, definitely, factually, opinionatedly has legs and headroom to remain your end-game ship at level 65 and beyond. Honestly, even though it's not Tier 6, it's powerful enough that it will be fine in every TFO. You got to watch out a little bit, of course, because it's an escort, of your shield strength and your hull strength, and make sure that you have healing abilities and you're staying alive, but it is so powerful that you can take out the enemies very quickly and do a ton of damage first. So it is a very damage-forward ship. It does not have a lot of special powers. It doesn't have special seating. It doesn't have, like, unique powers. Its ability is the fact that it is a workhorse, a damage horse. It's meant to deal damage. It's just meant to deal damage. And that's what it does, and that's what it's good at. And even though I am just a science character flying this ship, I'm doing a lot of damage. I can only imagine what a tactical character could do with this ship, or engineering. Probably even better. So, as a starter ship, it is a unique ship because, remember, Cryptic gives it to you loaded out. Everything's loaded on it. It's all Mark 12, very rare gear as soon as you get the ship, with a Jem'Hadar space set on it. So it's ready to go right out the door. All you have to do is upgrade that mastery by being in battle and, getting the mastery upgraded, and then upgrading the gear level itself, doing the upgrade gear to take it up to Mark 15, and then naturally in higher levels as well, beyond very rare. You can go ultra rare, and then you can go epic gear on it. So that allows you to keep upgrading it and making it better from the start. But it will never be a tier 6 ship, but it is still not bad, and it will do very good for you at in-game. You really will not ever really need to upgrade it. Upgrading beyond it will just be a want or a desire. Like, you want to try a different ship, you want a tier 6 ship, and you want to do something different. Otherwise, you could totally fly this ship all the way through in-game, all the way through all of your reputations, every TFO. Really, you could use this one ship. Because, again, you can put better gear on it, you can upgrade that gear, and it will be a very good ship for you. So, I like this ship. It has turned out to be extremely useful and not a waste of space. So that's my review on this ship. It's a damage ship. It does a lot of damage, and it's a good starter ship, and you really don't even need to get anything else if you're on the Dominion faction. You could just stick with this thing. It's that good. But of course, there's other Dominion ships out there as well, and that's what I'm going to be taking a look at in the future. Is I will be putting all of them on this character, and we're going to test every single Dominion ship. So if you like that, and you like my content, check out my Patreon page to help support the channel, and hopefully I can bring you every single Dominion ship. I would love to do that. So thank you all for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this Starship review. This has been the Jem'Hadar Escort T5-U, a very good ship in Star Trek Online. You get it with the Dominion faction. Go forth and have fun. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next one. Check out my new updated Patreon page. You can subscribe to Patreon to support this channel. I now have Patreon-only Discord access. It's a way to chat with others and myself about any topic.